Welcome back, everybody, to the Bitcoin 15. I am your host, Peter Beckstrand. Alongside of me, as always, my co-host, Peter Christensen. In this week's episode, Georgia House of Representatives propose a bill to include cryptocurrency in high school curriculum. The Oakland A's will let you get a suite for one Bitcoin. Bitcoin hits an all-time high. And we're going to do a little bold prediction at the end of this bad boy. So let's kick it off into our first topic with the Georgia House of Representatives proposing a cryptocurrency as a high school curriculum. I would have liked it. What are your thoughts?
Well, considering cryptocurrencies didn't exist when you and I were in high school, yeah, that would have been really cool. We'd have been so early, on it so early.
Yeah,
well,
seriously.
I heard we don't know too many details on what they're going to include on this. This is the first I'm hearing of Georgia being pro crypto. We've heard states like Kentucky, Wyoming, Florida, because of the city of Miami.
Mm-hmm.
Those all come to mind. So I haven't heard anything about Georgia. So just another state that maybe has some pro Bitcoin people in their government. That's cool. But just personal finance in general needs to be taught more in high schools, I think. I don't know, when we went through the same high school. So when I went through, we had a class called personal finance we actually had to take in 11th grade. Yeah, in 11th grade. Maybe they got rid of that by the time
who was it with?
Went through, but
name names.
Half Nelson was the teacher.
Oh.
shout out to Half Nelson.
Yeah. No, he was not. He's probably superintendent by then. No, we had the only thing I can think of is with I'll just call it the infamous fireworks lady with your younger brother. Okay. And learn how to balance a checkbook and care for a baby and make a casserole, aka a hot dish where we're from. But no, it did not teach us anything from a finance standpoint. So I think you're right. That's something that's always missing in any higher education / even post high school, even collegiate side. There's not too much, especially if you stray away from business at all and you get into maybe more of a liberal arts education, and you have no really any finance behind you, but except for a huge debt with an art degree. It is good. We can include the bill into the statement below or into the comments below, and I'd like to get people's thoughts. Obviously, it's not a law yet, but just like the Kentucky that we talked about for the last couple of weeks, those are becoming laws signed in for the mining. So we might need to move south, unfortunately, where it's always hot and humid. But it is funny.
Not unfortunately, in my opinion, but
well, I was going to say the funny thing is that I don't know if I mentioned it in the headlines. I don't think I did, but the stimulus check passing and just what happened with the Bitcoin price. But Georgia, obviously being a controversial state where they declared $2,000 stimulus checks, and well, it's minus the 600. So now I think people are getting $1,400. So it all comes here together on the Bitcoin 15. It all is going back to
what's the controversy? I'm missing what you're referring to there.
Sorry. Oh, during the election with Georgia making claims that once Biden's into office, we will all get our $2,000. The Democratic Party was running on that, and now that he is in office, that $2,000 has got $600 removed because people had already gotten $600, so now it's actually $1,400. Which, if you would have, there's always a stats if you would have bought the Bitcoin with the stimulus checks from last year, and you'd have like $10,000 profit now. So
yeah, crazy. Yeah, there's one Twitter account out there called $1,200 stimulus is worth now, or something like that.
Oh, really?
If you had bought Bitcoin as soon as you got your $1,200 check, what it would be worth now today. They just tweet it out periodically when Bitcoin hits new price highs. So if you're on Twitter, you can check them out. I don't remember the exact handle, but if you look for it, I'm sure you can find it.
Cool.
Let's talk about this Oakland athletics story. Big shout out, hat tip to friend of the show, Gabe Greener, also a fellow hodler and one of our most dedicated watchers, if not the most dedicated, I'd say.
Thank you, Gabe.
Sent this to us. Former landlord of both of us.
The original Bitcoin house, maybe. Huh.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
What could have been?
When you think about it, yeah. People who don't know us have no idea what we're talking about. But since no one like that is watching this, doesn't really matter. Anyhow, he at the 11th hour here sends me this story that I missed because, well, I'll be honest, I was slacking this week, second week in a row. Sorry, 15ers. That there's the Oakland Athletics are offering suites for about $64,000 a year. You get season tickets of a suite, box suite or whatever at their ballpark, and they're offering as an alternative you can pay 1 Bitcoin, which right now that's a slight bargain. Of course, those of us who are hodlers would think that's a foolish thing to pay with, but maybe if you're sitting on one of those people got in early and you're sitting on 20 Bitcoins and you're a huge athletics fan, maybe you'll take a flyer on it just to get some value out of it this season. I gotta wonder though, is it just suites? We should do research. I'll look into this and post a link in the description for this episode. But if they're increasing adoption, why just do it for suite? You would think they'd offer all kinds of season ticket packages with crypto prices. But hey, cool. Maybe this is Russell Okung, we've talked about him, an NFL player. Maybe this is a pathway for MLB players to get paid in Bitcoin directly from their teams if they're going to start collecting season tickets dues and stuff from their fans in crypto. Then they have it on the books to then pay their players with, instead of having to go through some conversion process if the players request to be paid that way. So all of this, in my eyes, is very good. Just kind of a neat way whenever we see an opportunity for those of us who are holding to spend it, and you start using it as a currency and not just as a speculative asset. So
yeah, you mentioned 20. I was like, maybe if someone had 1,000, because even if it's 20, I'd still, like, my mindset be like, I'm not
I agree.
my way. But it's funny that you say that too, because whenever I talk to individuals that are even into Bitcoin a little bit, or just they're like, well, what about Ethereum? What about these other ones? And it's like, yeah, you never hear of companies buying mass quantities of Ethereum, or like, you don't hear these stories Oakland A's are offering, and maybe you will, but maybe this will be the trickle down effect of salaries, Bitcoin. Maybe people start asking for additional cryptocurrency part of it. It is cool. My only question would be, because you're right, we didn't really look into it, but we'll look into it. It's like the Oakland A's, how many games would that get you, right? Like,
oh, I thought that was the season ticket package.
Sure, but how many games would you be able to go to with the California restrictions on? They must know.
That's a different issue, though. That's a separate issue. I mean, if I would hope fans are in ballparks this season, but you're right. A suite's going to be somewhat enclosed, I think, so that would be more likely to have more restrictions on it. And as it is, they probably won't have full ballparks at the start of the season, especially in California. But yeah, we're not going to start speculating on that.
Political.
We're not epidemiologists. We will defer to Dr. Fauci or his son Frankie on that issue.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's too bad because Okung just got released by the Carolina. So it's like, what happens to that crypto? I mean, if it wasn't guaranteed, I mean, he probably got some of his money guaranteed.
I think
Bitcoin.
I think he probably still had a few paychecks while he was still on roster. I don't know how that works, if they get paid year round or what,
weekly,
or if it's game by game. I don't know.
Game by game.
Oh, so then the season was over by the time. Yeah, I don't know. I guess that really throws a wrench in that our top story from our first week. Then I get poor Okung. Well,
poor Okung.
I'm sure wherever he goes, he'll negotiate something. Yeah, exactly. He's going to want to play for the Dolphins. Hang out with Suarez. Anyhow, let's was the next story we were just going to talk about?
We were going to touch base maybe on the stimulus, or even the all-time high.
Let's talk about them hand in hand. Yeah. I think kind of as predicted by a lot of the hardcore Bitcoiners out there on the internet, and like clockwork. Yeah, well, that includes us, obviously. Like clockwork, the stimulus passed this week, and I believe people started noticing payments yesterday. I haven't seen any payment. I don't know if I can't find hard data on if I qualify or not, so I really have no idea.
How do you because I've never gotten anything. How do you know if you get it? Do they send you a snail mail or an email or
No,
text?
well, with the
Oh, no.
$600 one, I apparently qualified for it because I just noticed in my Wells Fargo back in January
Oh, it
that
goes directly into your account.
if you had direct deposit from when you filed taxes or whatever, so for a rebate.
Oh,
So we got them for the January one. I haven't seen anything for this one, so maybe the bracket, the income
because after
bracket
you
or
submit your
thresholds,
taxes. Yeah.
they may have changed. I don't know if they're going off the 2019 numbers still or 2020. That could be where it could be that my wife and I are just right on the precipice of where we get it or not. I don't know. Like, I'm not trying to reveal too much to the internet about what we make, I guess, but
What do you make a year before taxes? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
but
it's coming in. Yeah, you're right. I saw people it's either pending or for sure coming in direct
right.
deposit.
But I think some people were getting them,
Mhm.
or at least maybe this is all just anticipated of that they're going to get them, and that's caused the frenzy. Because sure enough, we hit an all-time high yesterday when some people were starting to see their money or are expecting it to come in, and so yeah, we cracked 60K for the first time. We almost hit 62. It looks like we've dipped down a little bit since
Mhm.
then, but it's these stimulus bills. We talked about this on the second ever episode. They just keep pumping more dollars into the economy, into regular people's hands. Some people call it helicopter money when the government gives like a universal basic income sort of thing or a stimulus check. It just causes price inflation of things, especially assets, hard assets. And Bitcoin is obviously one of those at this point. That can't be denied. Even if you're a hater and think it's going to go to zero, it's an asset for now. Like,
Yeah.
something would have to radically change for it to not be considered a hard asset anymore, I think.
Yeah, yeah, it is crazy, and it all lines up, and it's exactly what happened a year ago, basically with Michael Saylor, and then if you even go back even further with the inventor of Bitcoin and on the verge of the big bank bailout, so just not necessarily a stimulus check, but just government intervention in the flow or the cash flow, maybe M1 or money in general and giving it out or who they give it out to, so in mass quantity. So it all ties together. And from a prediction standpoint, I'm like, what did I predict a couple of weeks ago? I was like, I think we'll be at 50 by the end of Q1 because we were like at 40.
I don't remember all of your predictions. I do remember one right as we're signing off. I gave you the last where you're like 60K before the next time we record, and that was like 3 episodes ago. So we have now hit
Oh shoot,
60K, but
that's what it was.
I think you actually said it right before we went into that little dip where it went down
Yeah,
to the
yeah, I
low
look like an
40s,
idiot. Yeah,
but because it dropped like 15K at one point, but then it's come roaring back. I mean, that's if I were to make a prediction, yeah, I'm going to stick with the stock to flow model. Like we've talked about multiple times, it's hard to pinpoint exactly when it's going to happen, but it'll keep rising up with these hard bull runs, then big pullbacks, but not as bad as it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back.
yeah.
That's Bitcoin for you. And big ups to your friends, family, whoever that you helped get into it that were worried when they bought it like 58K and had lost $200 already, and now they should be
Yeah,
up, right?
I sent him a screenshot when it was at 62, and then he sent it back. We're rich. And I was like,
Yeah, exactly.
I said, yeah, we could have retired yesterday. It is funny. I think you're right. I think we'll see like that typical like 4 to 5% adjustment when we get to a certain point. We'll see a 45% adjustment, and it'll go up again. But when you're at 70, 4 or 5%, 80, 4 or
Well,
5%.
or bigger than 4 to 5%. I mean, sometimes it's a 20% correction before it starts going back up again. It's these pullbacks. I mean, it was at 58, went all the way down to 43, the last big spike, then fell back 15,000. So I mean,
Yeah, I just don't think that would happen. I think the where we're at
that's
now, I think the
that's
4 or
about a
5%.
26% pullback.
I just don't think that's happening even on this next at 62. That's what I meant, like the 4 or 5%. Even if it goes up a little bit, it'll come back down. I think it'll hover around 60, 58 to 64 for the rest of Q1. I think Q2 stock. I'm not going off the stock flow off the top of my head because I don't have it ingrained. I don't have the tattoo like you do on your chest to show the lineage or where we're at for the time being. But I think Q2, just because the vaccine, by May 1st, Biden says they'll be available to everybody. So I think that, and then the stimulus, if they keep coming out, it'll kind of tie together. And then you have companies like Tesla, MicroStrategies, Twitter, or Jack Dorsey. I don't know if it's Square, Twitter, other companies buying in. El Presidente, Barstool, saying that he was wrong 18 hours ago, 19 hours ago. He's a big D swinger when it comes to finance now for some reason. So I
don't think that should be discounted, actually, because the following he has on social media, and he got people to buy a bunch of certain stocks. If he says he's wrong on Bitcoin, those who just slurp up everything he says are probably going to buy Bitcoin now that he admitted he was wrong.
Yeah, I have a feeling that people though that follow him are already like buying Bitcoin, but like maybe not, because there's a certain demographic that when I talk to them, they have Robinhood, but they don't have Bitcoin, and I go, why? Well, get off Robinhood if you're going to buy Bitcoin, but if you're into that day trading, you should get into something and hold on to it, because I don't know how much you're putting into your 401k or how much you're doing some of these other long-term investments. Like use it as that, So, well, any more bold predictions? I'm saying, like I said, 60K through Q1 and Q2. I think we'll ramp back up, or we'll hit another big one. But
I don't like making near-term predictions. I've kind of held back on bold predictions. So yeah, with stock to flow, my bold prediction is going to be Bitcoin will for sure be worth over $100,000 per Bitcoin before the end of 2021. That doesn't even feel that bold to me. Like
no,
that's lame. I actually, okay, fine. Let's say 150. Okay. That's not actually, the stock to flow X or cross asset model says 288,000 before or sometime like early next year.
Oh yeah, 288.
So that just seems like wildest dreams sort of territory. So I don't know. I hesitate to say that. To me, like I am dead certain it'll be. That's why I'm only as willing to call that my bold prediction. I'm dead certain it'll be worth six figures before the end of this year.
Yeah. Like, all right. That's 150.
And hey, we got it on the record now, so we can watch this in December and see.
Yeah. Well, we'll use that Bitcoin 15K, Bitcoin 17 near Bitcoin 20. Like, subscribe, comment, tell people. If you don't, we're gonna be like Arrested Development. Will be the greatest show ever to go offline because we didn't tell anybody. And then we'll go to Netflix, and then you'll have to be paying $20 a month to watch this stuff. So, what I was gonna say is, in the near future, we'll also do a live show together. So we don't have a laggy, jaggedy picture of one Peter. It'll be two Peters together at a table. And I'm sure that one will not be 15 minutes together.
All right. Yeah. Thanks, everybody.
I hear a kid crying upstairs. I got to go.
All right. See you next week.